OBS Studio is free, open-source software for screen recording and live streaming on Mac OS, Windows, and Linux. It offers far more features than QuickTime Player, making it a great tool for everything from basic recording to semi-pro work. In this video, I'll walk you through the installation and setup step by step. First, go to the official website at obsproject.com. Next, click the Download tab in the menu. Here, choose the version for your Mac. If you are using an older Mac with an Intel chip, choose the Intel version. If you are using an Apple Silicon chip, like the M1 or newer, download the Apple Silicon version. Once downloaded, double-click to open the installer file. Then, simply drag the OBS icon into your Applications folder. Installation is now complete. You will see the installer drive icon on your desktop. You can select it and press Command-E to eject it. Now, let's open the app using Spotlight. Since this is the first time opening it, macOS will warn you about an app downloaded from the internet. Just click Open to confirm. Immediately after, OBS will ask for permissions, specifically for the camera and microphone. You can click the buttons in this window to open the corresponding system settings, or open system settings manually. These options are located under Privacy and Security. Find the Accessibility section and turn the switch on for OBS. Do the same for camera and microphone. This allows the app to use your webcam and record audio. After granting these three permissions, go back to the app and click Continue. Next, an Auto Configuration Wizard will pop up. I'm going to close this so we can set it up manually for the best results. To access the configuration menu at any time, click Settings in the control area. To keep this practical, I will focus on the essential settings for most users. Under General, you can change the language. Appearance is where you change the interface theme. If you plan to live stream, the Stream tab is where you connect your platforms. Let's move to the Output tab. For output mode, select Simple if you don't want to customize anything. The quality is still very good. Otherwise, select Advanced. This gives you separate tabs for streaming and recording. In the Type drop-down, select Standard. Custom Output is for experts who need specific formats for professional post-production. Below that is the recording path. This is the folder where your files will be saved. Next is recording format. I recommend choosing MP4. It is the most common format in the world. You can open MP4 files on Android, iPhone, Windows, smart TVs, or upload them to YouTube and Facebook without issues. If you strictly use the Apple ecosystem, MOV is also a good choice, as it's the native format for QuickTime. However, look for the options labeled Hybrid. The special thing about these hybrid formats is file protection. If your Mac loses power or OBS crashes while recording, a hybrid video will still be playable. With the traditional MP4, the file would be completely corrupted. Below that is the video encoder. This affects sharpness and file size. To keep it simple, choose the most common codec, which is X264. There is another important setting here you need to pay attention to: bitrate. Technically, bitrate is the amount of data processed in the specific amount of time, usually 1 second. It directly determines the quality and sharpness of your image, and of course the final file size. As you can see on the screen, the default bitrate is set to 6,000 kilobits per second, which is equivalent to 6 megabits per second. But let's compare this to YouTube's official recommendations. For 1080p resolution at 60 frames per second, they recommend a minimum of 12 megabits per second. So I'm going to change this to 12,000. You can certainly increase this number even higher if you want. Moving on to audio settings. If you are recording your voice, set channels to mono. This ensures sound plays equally in both ears when using headphones. Stereo separates the left and right channels. For example, if you choose stereo and your microphone is slightly off-center, the playback audio will be louder in one ear. Let's look at global audio devices. You have desktop audio and mic audio. Desktop audio captures sound from your Mac, like music or game sounds. Mic audio captures your voice. I won't change anything here for now. I will cover audio details in a later step. Switch to the Video tab. You might find the difference between the Output and Video tabs a bit confusing. Think of it this way. The Output tab is the actual production process used to create the file. The Video tab is just the packaging step that wraps the product up. That is why you won't see many settings in this section. Base canvas resolution is the resolution OBS uses while you are working. Output scaled resolution is the final resolution of your saved video file. For example, if you are recording a 4K monitor, set the canvas to 4K. If you want the final file to be smaller, set the output to Full HD. Note that downscaling requires more CPU power. Usually, I keep both set to Full HD, which is 1920 by 1080. You can also type in a specific resolution. Just pay attention to the aspect ratio. In this case, the file will be 16 by 9, which is the standard for YouTube. Another important setting is FPS, or frames per second. For basic tutorials, 30 frames per second is enough. If you are recording fast motion, like gaming, choose 60 frames per second. This will use more CPU and create larger files. I'll select 60 frames per second. Finally, there is the hotkeys section if you prefer using keyboard shortcuts over the mouse. And that completes the setup. I'll click OK. I recommend restarting the application now to apply all changes. Now, let's explore the OBS interface. You will see a large window at the top called the canvas. It is currently black because we haven't set anything up to display yet. This is exactly what your viewers will see when you stream or record your screen. Everything displayed in this area is what gets captured. Right now, it has a 16:9 aspect ratio based on the video settings we configured in the previous step. Down at the bottom, you will see 5 main sections: Scenes, Sources, Audio Mixer, Scene Transitions, and Controls. In OBS, you must have at least one scene. OBS creates one for you by default. If your goal is just simple screen recording, you don't really need multiple scenes yet, so I will explain that a bit later. For now, let's focus on Sources and the Audio Mixer. In OBS, every element displayed on the canvas is called a source. When you add multiple sources, they work like layers stacked on top of each other. To add a source, click the plus icon at the bottom. You will see many options. You can add an image, text, a display, or even audio. Let's add the classic source, your computer screen. Select the source named macOS Screen Capture. Name it whatever you like and click OK. If you have multiple monitors, Select the specific display here. Each option shows its current resolution. When you add a screen capture source, OBS automatically adds an audio source to capture the internal sound from your Mac. You can keep this if you want to record system audio. I'm going to mute and hide this for now, so I can give you a better example of audio settings in the next step. If you want to bring back the hidden sources, simply click the three dots icon and select Unhide All. Now, my MacBook screen is on the canvas, but you might notice the resolution doesn't match the canvas size. Right-click on the canvas, go to Transform, and select Fit to Screen. You will see the MacBook screen adjust to fit the frame. However, because MacBooks usually have a 16:10 aspect ratio, and our canvas is 16:9, you get black bars on the left and right. To fill these gaps, instead of Fit to Screen, go back and select Stretch to Screen. This stretches the image slightly to fill the canvas. It distorts the aspect ratio a tiny bit, but it removes the black bars. That is the main difference between fit and stretch. A quick warning here. When adjusting source sizes, many people mistake Resize Output for the Transform tool. Do not click that. It changes your entire project and video resolution settings. If you click it by accident, you'll need to go back to Settings to fix it. So, you've successfully added a screen recording source. Now let's add a webcam. Click the plus icon and select Video Capture Device. Under Device, I'll select the MacBook camera. The camera view is a rectangle. You can hold down the Option key on your keyboard and drag the edges with your mouse to crop it. Release the Option key to resize the window and move it to the position you want. If you want to get fancy and make the webcam circular like other creators, check out my other OBS tutorials in the playlist linked in the description. As I mentioned, sources are arranged like layers. The top layer covers the bottom one. You can drag and drop them in the list to rearrange the order. You have your screen and your webcam. Now let's talk about audio. In the audio mixer section, OBS usually creates a default audio source for your mic. Click the three dots next to it and select Properties. Under Device, if you have multiple microphones connected, make sure to select the specific one you want to use. To manage this easily, right-click the source, select Rename, and give it a clear name. You will notice there is no Add button inside the audio mixer panel itself. To add a new audio source, you actually go back to the Sources box. Select Audio Input Capture. Name it. Select your mic and click OK. If you want to record internal sound, like game audio or music, select macOS Audio Capture. Under Method, you can choose to record all sound coming from your Mac or sound from a specific application. For example, if you are playing background music from Spotify, select Spotify in the application list. You might want to lower the volume slider here so the music doesn't overpower your voice. Finally, click the gear icon to open Advanced Audio Properties. Generally, for any source recording your voice, you should check the box in the Mono column. So that covers sources and audio. let's briefly touch on scenes and transitions. Imagine you are setting up a game live stream. Before you start playing, you want a waiting screen for the first 10 minutes while people join. You would create a new scene and name it Intro. In this scene, you create a source to display an image you prepared. Then add a text source that says, "Starting soon." When you are ready to play, you switch from the intro scene to your main gameplay scene. The effect in the Scene Transitions panel will automatically play during that switch. And finally, we have the Controls area. Simply click Start Streaming or Start Recording to begin. While recording, you will see a small red dot on the OBS icon in your dock. You can click this icon to pause, and click it again to resume recording. Finally, click Stop Recording to finish the session. To find your files, go to the File menu and select Show Recordings. This opens the folder containing your videos. That covers the basics to get you started with OBS Studio. At first glance, the interface might look a bit complex compared to QuickTime Player. But because OBS is professional software, it offers much more freedom and fewer limitations than default apps. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.